Should kids be counting calories, and am I giving my kids an eating disorder? Well, I bring this up because I've had comments on various videos with things like, oh, it makes me cringe to see little kids counting calories, or I can't believe you're letting your kids eat that kind of stuff, or making them eat that kind of stuff. Or one of my favorites, there's more to life than having kids.
What? You're kidding, right?
That's has nothing to do with this really, but you know, I know there's more to life. Maybe there's more to life than being selfish, I don't know. But I like my kids, so it's not a problem. But my kids do not count calories. They don't even know what calories are. They don't care. Sure, they hear me talk about it in my videos a lot, but the only reason I actually have them in my videos is because if I make something and say, hey, this is so great, well, of course I'm gonna say that, and can you really trust me? Because I'm trying to make a video to get people to see it. The reason I have my kids there is because they're gonna give their honest opinion whether it's good or not. And they've said in videos when things are bad. And that's the whole reason I have them, just so that you get honest feedback from a kid when all they care about is taste. They don't care about the calories or anything like that. So my kids, they don't count calories, but in a way, everyone teaches their kids not about calories, but they say good and bad foods as like, you know, fruit's a good food, candy is junk food, or bad type of food. But where does obesity start? Most people don't just decide, you know what, I'm gonna get really overweight and unhealthy. It starts with habits. So what I'm trying to do is teach my kids good habits, but the things that we grow up a lot of times learning is, oh, you don't get dessert unless you eat everything on your plate. I remember I heard that when I was younger a lot, and so you get this in your head, oh, I have to eat everything, even if I'm getting full. But the funny thing is kids know how to stop when they're full. It's not like adults and we feel like, oh, I just want to keep eating and eating because stuff tastes so good. My kids, even on their birthdays, I'll give them a big piece of cake because I'm like, here, it's your birthday, here's a big piece of cake. And then my daughter will come up with like half her cake left, said, I'm done, and give it to me. And I'm thinking, huh, and then I end up eating it half the time because I'm in the habit of wanting to eat everything and make sure the plate is empty at the end of a meal. But they have a tendency to be able to be like, oh, you know what? My body's full, I don't need anything else. Whereas when you go through your whole life saying, oh, I gotta eat everything on my plate because that's the thing to do, well then that's putting a bad habit in your mind to where you just eat stuff because it's there, with something you don't really need to be doing. So I tell my kids all the time, hey, if you're feeling full, you don't need to finish the rest of your food. And of course, you got to balance it out with a kid being like, oh, I just don't want to eat my vegetables. I want to eat cake or ice cream or some kind of dessert that you might be having. If you have kids, you know how that is, and you have to balance it out with how your kids are. But when a kid is done, they feel full, I'm not going to make them say, you need to eat the rest of that macaroni or chicken or whatever before you get to have any dessert. Because sure, they want a little treat, and I don't mean like all the time we're having cake and ice cream and stuff like that, but you know, maybe like a little Hershey's Kiss or a little Reese's Cup or something like that for some kind of little treat after dinner. But what I try to do with my kids is focus on just teaching them good habits. For example, my son had a habit before of going into the pantry and getting a box of Cheez-Its or chips out and walking around and just eating out of it. And I said, hey, bud, you don't need to do that. If you want a snack, get it out, put some on a napkin or in a bowl, something like that, and then eat out of that. Put the box away. You don't need to just keep eating and eating, because that's what people tend to do. You might get a bag of Doritos and sit on the couch and start watching TV. Before you know it, that whole bag is gone and you've eaten like 2,000 calories worth of chips. So bad habits, we're trying to make sure they don't have those. Other things, hey, make sure you eat slowly. A lot of times my kids will be sitting there, and especially if something tastes good, and like, and they're putting more in their mouth before they've even finished chewing the last bite. And it's like, hey, slow down, take a bite, put your fork down, chew it up, enjoy it. You don't have to scarf it down really fast unless maybe there's somewhere you gotta be, but they're kids and most of the time that's not the case. And also just trying to teach them how to make good food choices. It's not like my kids are going and eating protein bars that I make or some low calorie pancakes or stuff like that. No, I'm not giving them like alternatives to peanut butter or anything like that to try to count calories for my kids. They're typically eating like cereal or oatmeal or maybe eggs for breakfast, and then a sandwich or maybe some macaroni and cheese and chicken nuggets is something I like to have at lunchtime. And for dinner, you know, just whatever we're making, spaghetti or pizza or chicken and vegetables. I mean, my kids don't have a problem with eating vegetables and that type of stuff, so we just say, hey, this is your dinner, and we'll give them a certain amount. And most of the time, my two youngest ones especially won't even end up eating all of their food. They're like, I'm done. So, okay, thanks. And we save it for another time. But my kids don't count calories, so don't freak out. I'm not giving them an eating disorder. I'm not putting body image issues in their head because they don't care. of course they're gonna see what you do and they're gonna pick up your habits. Something my wife told me about when she read a book after we had our first kids, that a lot of the things your kids do are caught and not taught. So you might tell them to do something over and over again, but if they see you doing something else and not doing whatever you're telling them as an example, then they're not gonna do it either. They're gonna copy what you're doing. So yeah, I work out a lot, and a lot of times my kids will come out and try to do some weights, and I'm not like, hey, you need to be here and do this whole workout with me. I'm like, yeah, sure, get the 5-pound weights and do some curls, try doing some push-ups, do a pull-up, and they're learning how to do that type of stuff, and they're showing their own interest, and I'm just helping them along when they do show interest, but I'm not forcing them to eat a certain way or exercise a certain way or do anything like that. So don't worry, my kids are fine. I don't think kids should count calories. I don't even think adults should count calories, but the problem is those bad habits, like I said in the beginning, are what cause people to be obese. And so people don't realize going to McDonald's and getting a large fry and a large soda and a Big Mac, all that stuff ends up being like 1,500 calories for one meal. And then they eat that for one meal, and then a second meal, and then a third meal. And then guess what? You're eating 4,000 to 5,000 calories in a day, and that's why you're so big. So learning about calories and how many are in different foods is what can help you to lose weight when you've been programmed with bad habits. But if you already understand, hey, grilled chicken is a low calorie food, whereas fried chicken or maybe steak is a high calorie food, higher calorie. So which one do I need to pick if I'm trying to lose weight? That type of thing. It's simple. You just got to make good choices, and I've got lots of videos on the channel, especially with fast food and choices you can make that are lower in calorie, that will fill you up, that will help you to maintain your weight or lose your weight if you're wanting to do that. So let me know what you think about kids and calories and obesity. In this day and age, it is a problem, and parents can make a big change just by teaching their kids the right thing, but the parents need to know good ways of eating as well to make that happen. So that's all we're going to cover here. Check out Instagram, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. That's the chair, not me farting.